Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're all well. It's Monday. It's Monday. Gotta love Mondays, new week. We always have high hopes at the start of the week, and generally they're dashed by about Wednesday. But this is video 2 of possibly 3. We did the live earlier, and look, this video is just touching on something that we touched on last night's live, which is the latest kind of news article. This is a Fox News. I know, don't get me started. But I think it's worth speaking about because it's just shows that there's still complete and utter bollocks surrounding the Idaho 4 case and mainstream media. And just thought I'd share it for those of you who couldn't. And look, lives ain't for everybody. Lives ain't for me even. And run and joke. But yes, lives aren't really for me. I don't mind doing them for you guys, but I don't really want to do them for anyone else. And that's just the way it is. But let's have a look at this article together, shall we? And share some thoughts. So, this is it, look. Fox Nation. Ultimate evil meeting ultimate innocence inside the mind of Idaho murder suspect Bryan Kohberger. Now, there's a bit of a conundrum there, isn't it? Because it's inside the mind of Idaho murder suspect Bryan Kohberger. So it's not like we're writing an article after he did the crime and was found guilty. This is about having a conversation with someone before he's actually been found guilty in a court of law, beyond a reasonable doubt and all that. So his mind, for instance, could be fine, and it could be just that it was a mistake. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not naive enough to, and I've said this multiple times, to believe that there's no way he could have done it. Let's just say that. Let's put that rumour to bed. But anyway, shall we continue? So, former LAPD detective Mark Furman remains on the Idaho College murder case as the mystery-shrouded saga continues, with suspected killer Bryan Kohberger's fate resting in the hands of the justice system. One thing's right, mystery-shrouded saga. I agree. But Kohberger and his motives largely remain a mystery. Remember, and I will have to keep prompting you, the guy hasn't been found guilty yet. We're not gone into the future. I know this is going to read like we have somewhat gone into the future, but no, we're still talking about a guy who's been accused but not found guilty. Furman set out to unmask him bit by bit in 3, that's 1, 2, 3, Fox News Nation or Fox Nation series about the Idaho murder investigation. Can't wait to see that. We tried to get into his head. Who is he? He's Bryan Kohberger. We tried to get into his digital footprint. What it is he actually told everybody for years. And then, really, where are we in this case? Defense, prosecution, and police. Unfortunately, this is ultimate evil meeting ultimate innocence. And that is what's really throwing it into the national awareness. And it's really a tragic case, he told Fox News' Lawrence Jones on Tuesday. Again, please remember, we haven't gone into the future. Speaking to the Fox and Friends, sounds like a pub, co-host Furman, a former detective, author and radio talk show host, best known for his role in investigating the 1994 murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman in the O.J. Simpson case, said the focus of the series includes people who have contacted, interviewed and been around people like Bryan Kohberger. Around people like Bryan Kohberger. Again, I can't stress enough, the guy hasn't been found guilty yet. And look, these people need to pray that he is guilty. There was absolutely no connection between Kohberger and these 4 victims, and it's just tragic, Furman said. I cannot keep having to pinch myself. We haven't. Something hasn't happened, has it? Has something happened? I have to double check myself. There was absolute. So even, but bearing in mind that the guy, as far as I'm aware, unless we have somehow gone into the future, he hasn't been found guilty. And even this article said there's absolutely no connection. So at this stage, would that be? You know what I'm saying. Kohberger stands accused. Right. So back to reality. Of brutally claiming the lives of 4 Idaho college students after a home invasion in November 2022. DNA on the K-bar knife sheath recovered from the room where 21-year-old best friends Madison Mogen and Kaylee Gonsalves were slain matched Kohberger. See, when you say the short version of it, looks fucking bad. Looks bad. And that's what people, the vast majority of people who are absolutely convinced of his kind of guilt, that's the version that they replay in their head. No other version of that, just the short version. And I agree, that's a hurdle. He also stands accused of killing Xana Knodel, 20, and her boyfriend Ethan Chapin, also 20, who were spending the night at the Idaho residence. The 29-year-old former criminology PhD student has since spent over a year behind bars in the Latah County Jail in Moscow, Idaho. Mystery enshrouds the case long after it claimed the spotlight and riddled the law enforcement community with questions that largely remain unanswered. What questions remain unanswered? Because the only questions really that remain unanswered would be from the people who believe that Bryan Kohberger could potentially be innocent. So those questions are not really... you can't turn around and make it sound like you're saying he absolutely done it and he's a monster, this is ultimate evil, and then say there's a large amount of questions that remain unanswered. There's a bit of a conundrum there, isn't there? Including what was Kohberger's motive. Furman, determined to answer some of those questions and give the case a closer look, sat down to unpack its details in previous Fox Nation installments as well, including last year's Moscow Murders, convicting a killer, where he highlighted major missteps the suspect took when carrying out his crimes. He made every mistake you could make. So again, he made every mistake. This should read, he potentially made every mistake you could make. He was connected to the vehicle that we don't know as the public was actually his. I just need to point that out. Could be his, but hasn't been proven beyond a reasonable doubt to be his. He left his DNA. He left his murder weapon sheath. Again, the public don't know that sheath belonged to the murder weapon. We don't know that. That's jumping the gun, so to speak, or jumping the knife. A witness saw him, definitely saw him, 100%. He didn't eliminate the witness, well, at least that's correct. He got in over his head. He killed more victims than he thought. So how do you know? If you didn't know the motive, how do you know? It may be indeed Bryan Kohberger, and he went in there to kill exactly who he killed. Again, there's so many questions surrounding the actual murder itself. If Bryan Kohberger physically went to these victims' rooms, then that would say that he killed exactly who he meant to. Exactly who he meant to, because he physically went to the rooms. Unless he came down and met them outside Dylan Mortenson's door, sorry. Anyway, I'll continue. And he stalked them. Again, how do we know that he stalked them? This is again going off of media-driven comments, not proven, documented evidence. And it was printed all over his cell phone. All over his cell phone. So has this guy seen his cell phone and been given information that we're not privy to? And that's just what we know. Who knows? Former FBI investigator Bill Daley told Furman at the time. So what we're saying is that seemingly this FBI investigator Bill Daley told Furman that there was stuff written all over his cell phone. This is crazy shit. Kohberger's public defenders previously filed a pre-trial appeal of the Idaho Supreme Court, claiming prosecutors indicted their client improperly on 4 counts of first-degree murder and a single count of burglary. The defense team also argued grand jurors find the higher legal standard of guilt beyond a reasonable doubt instead of the widely accepted standard of probable cause in order to indict their client. After a judge struck down the measure, the team appealed to the Idaho Supreme Court, who later rejected their request. To learn more about the ongoing case, Digital Shadows, Bryan Kohberger's Online Secrets, Savage Instincts, The Mind of Bryan Kohberger, and Moscow Murders Behind Bars are streaming now on Fox Nation. There you go. So they are the 3 pieces that the Furman's doing, I'm guessing. But there you go. There you have it. I really want to hear your thoughts, because my thoughts are on this. This is just another example of an absolute hit piece. The guy could be guilty. Absolutely. Could be guilty. But in a country that claims innocent until proven guilty, but absolutely laughs in the face of that even idea, is beyond me. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's a farce. Like I say, I'm not naive enough to believe the guy didn't do it, but what I am also not naive enough to believe is that what we have seen in the public is enough to convict this guy. There could be a lot more. Again, not naive enough to believe that there isn't enough out there. There is more to it. But what I do know is there shouldn't be anybody, apart from the people who are included in the gag order, that are privy to information that would absolutely nail this guy to the wall. So what the fuck is this talking about? And how do they get away with it? It's wrong, and it proves that there is no chance of a fair trial. Ever. Let me know down below what you think. And I'll catch you all in the next one.